Yeah, I'm going to show you my little dragon diorama that I'm working on here. Uh, the creek here has gotten a little bit dusty, so let me just kind of dust this off. What this water is here is that plastic easy water, which, I mean, tell you the truth, it really isn't that easy. If you put it in too hot, it's going to melt your foam. This is a piece of actually just white styrofoam that I've cut to fit in this nice little bonsai tray. Now the tree, here, let me show you. See, this is actually thread here. What I did was I made a wire tree. If you look at my tree making video on part 1, I'll show you that this is really just extension cord wire that I've twisted sort of into a tree shape. And then I've taken thread and I've wrapped thread around and around and around to give it sort of a tree type shape. Okay. This stuff up on here is a flocking, a foam flocking that has been stuck onto wool fiber, a green wool fiber. You can buy this as is. It's they call it, what do they call it now? It's Woodland Scenics makes it, and they call it foliage. Okay, and it's same sort of stuff. When you buy it, it'll be really flat, so you have to fluff it up yourself. The little bird, here, let me show you here, a little bird there that I made. I've just stuck him on one of the branches. So what I'm going to end up doing here is I'm going to stick him up through the foliage like this. Oh, let me try showing you here. Move the foliage down around, and then it'll make it look like he's sitting up on top of the tree there. Okay, just kind of an extra little feature here. Now the little dragon guys, I've made them out of a polymer clay. It's actually, we call it green stuff. We use it for making little miniatures for our war games and stuff. But Fimo or Sculpey is pretty close. Fimo is a little bit tougher than Sculpey, so if you're making something permanent, I'd suggest Fimo. It's not really for kids and stuff because it requires such a hard time, or getting it soft is really hard. Kids just can't get it soft. Okay, I've got one more dragon here that, see, this guy's picking up stuff, so I'm going to be sticking this guy here, and he's going to be reaching down there and picking up the leaves that this other guy is passing him. I'm going to call this the landscapers, because they're landscaping the forest. Little dragons. Now this little guy over here I'm going to have to repair, and this is one of the problems that you'll encounter with Sculpey. This actually fell on me, that's why it's like this. I'm going to have to glue his head back on. This little dragon, he's sleeping. He's left his paint palette there. He's supposed to be painting everything, eh? So I'll have to glue him back on. But I wanted to show you another use for, some of this green stuff. Raid some from your kids if he's into Warhammer or something like that. Steal some of his green stuff. Okay, now a similar tree, I'm just going to ramble on here for a little bit, is, here I'll show you on this one. Here's a bigger one that I'm making. And it's going to be for a wall hanging. See if I can zoom out here. Bear with me one moment. I'm going to flip this around. Okay, see, and it's going to hang on the wall like this. Okay, and what I've made it out of is a wool. Now there's no wire in this one. I've just ran wool along, and see the leaves I'm making out of just big loops. This is an old hula hoop is what this is. Sorry for the jerkiness here. I'm holding the camera out on at arm's length. Okay, and I'm going to wrap a little bit more leaves. I'm going to go all the way over to those other two branches that are off by themselves, and then it will just hang on the wall. This is pretty easy to do. Just get some old brown wool, and no, it doesn't have to be a hula hoop. It can be. I've made them out of real small ones too. Macrame. that stuff will also work for it. Well, I should probably show you one other type, artworky type piece. This is copper, and this tree here is made out of extension cord wire too. Okay, and you can see how it's just twisted up. So what you do is you pull the rubber off your old piece of extension cord and take the copper wire out of the inside of the extension cord. And then what I do is I gather up a whole bunch for the thickness of the base, and then start working up, and then I work my branches out from that. You know, so don't start at tip and sort of add wires as you go down. Get a good thick, you know, bunch that you want for your base. Now on here, what I did was I punched holes in here with a nail and then stuck the branches or the roots into the holes on the nail. Okay, and then what I did here was to get the, you know, the landscape type thing was I cut a hole out with just a coping saw. This is all just sanded nice and smooth, eh? But cut a hole out with your coping saw and then push your copper up from underneath. And then what I did was I just kind of filled it with a, you know, a clay. Actually, clay, I've tried a bunch of stuff. Wax works, clay works. This is a hydrocal stuff. And what that does is it just gives it, you know, a little bit of firmness so that it doesn't dent on you after. Mind you, this copper that I used is fairly thick, but you can use a thin copper sheet. Another use for those old extension cords. Very easy to repair too. You can always change your tree. Tree's always changing shape as you're fixing it or fiddling with it.